South African survivor specialist Alexa and Robert are back after a week-long hiatus. We know that all four of you who have been watching this are desperately, desperately sad that we weren't gracing you with our presence last week, but we are back for a double episode. Hello, Robert.
Hello, Alexa. Glad to be back.
Your hair is looking great as always.
2 whole episodes. Thank you. We're keeping it long, I guess. No haircut yet.
But yeah, we are recapping 2 episodes, and one of which is the merge. Like, we have done it. We've made it to the merge.
Yeah, we unintentionally missed out on the merge hype of like, oh my god, it's the merge next episode. So oops, but here we are. We made it.
Yes. Instead we're recapping a very, very sad underdog vote out and then a very, very confusing merge boot. So we'll get to those in a second. But first of all, I feel like we shouldn't start a podcast without talking about Sunday Burquest, who, as I'm sure you have all seen, passed away over the weekend. She was, I don't think there's anything that I personally can say that hasn't already been said about her in a much more beautiful light. But to us, she was such a friend of this podcast. She was one of, if not the most active guest and the highest attended guest that we've ever had. And this one really stung. This one was really tough yesterday. So it's been really great to see the community get together, but definitely hoping that her friends and her family are coping with this as well as they can.
Right. And I haven't interviewed or interacted with Sunday as much as you and Phil have, but everything, all the outpouring of the community of love towards her and her family has been, it is unfortunate that this happened, but she was an amazing person, and I hope that we can all remember it that way, which I'm sure is going to happen anyways. So
definitely. So we'll dedicate this very, very wonderful merge episode to her, but wanted to just bring her up before we got started. So we start off with this episode, and Josie is like, I am in. I survived by the skin of my teeth. She's a cat with 9 lives, which should have been my hint that she was not going to make it through the episode. But I was really, really, really pulling for her, and it really kind of stung to see at the end that she wasn't able to.
I really liked Josie. Like, it was always like, oh, how's she going to make it through this time? And like, yeah, same thing. I was like, oh yeah, I was thinking about it, and I do think PK made the wrong decision. I think, she and Tony are gonna
go from us.
Right. I was like, she and Tony, they're gonna stick tight, vote up PK if they lose immunity. Like, she's good. That's what I was thinking.
There's a good amount of questionable gameplay at the very least in this first half, but I do like his idea of, okay, well, now that I have her, she's gonna connect with Palesa and Vusi. And there seems to just be a general understanding that everybody hates Tom. So I think in his head, he's like, okay, well, we can automatically bring 2 very small tribes together, and then we can take over because the original Blue Alliance is gone. But we hit a certain wrench of the other team not telepathically knowing that they should throw a challenge, which is something that really bothers me. I know we're not quite there yet, but this is a very PK heavy 2 episodes, and I just wanted to start with that.
Yeah, whoever is the first person on Survivor to figure out telepathy, that's a pretty big advantage. So
they're probably gonna win.
They're probably gonna win. It's a shocker. Maybe, who knows? Maybe someone's figured out telepathy already, and they just didn't tell us.
Season 41.
That'd be crazy. That's what it says. Season 41. Telepathy Island.
Telepathy Island. I mean, someone already put so much effort into making a fake theme for season 41. I've completely bought it. I sent it to all my friends and then had to walk of shame those text messages afterwards.
Yeah, my bad.
So we'll get to that in a second because this really matters the immunity challenge. But let's go to the Luzon tribe for a second, because Werner makes a very odd comparison that I don't think he means it to be so black and white, but he kind of goes on this, that makes the statement that because he's a pastor, he relates well to women. I don't think it was that exact.
Sorry, my laptop's running low on batteries all of a sudden.
Laptop's low on battery, so I'm going to keep
going. Yeah, you keep going.
But I think as much as I can be oh, well, that's a weird comparison to make, I think he clearly does a good job of having kind of every person in his corner. Annalise really trusts him. They start to collaborate later on in this episode. John really trusts him. And Katinka also really trusts him. And Katinka is amazing. And this is a Katinka Stan account because
all right, we're doing a live transition to another outlet that works.
Okay, he is moving.
Okay.
But Katinka makes like a general attempt to strategize. And then John has this great confessional where she's like, it just warms my cold, dead heart that Katinka is attempting to strategize. I thought that was really cute.
I thought that was hilarious. And it's great that, as much fun as we've made of Katinka for not strategizing. So can you hear me fine?
Yes, you sound great. I'm listening.
Oh, perfect. As much fun as we make fun of Katinka for not strategizing, the fact that she's starting is actually a very good character arc of how she's like trying to figure out this game finally. So I really enjoy it.
I think so too. And she gets like some random flack near the end of the merge episode, which again seems to come out of nowhere. But we'll get to it. But going back to her and Werner specifically, he actually says in a confessional, or is it he or she? He says that Katinka, is his strongest ally, which I think speaks a lot to how he is as a player, because a lot of people see him as their closest ally. And I think he also sees like 4 other players as his closest ally, and not in a sleazy way. Like, I think he just genuinely has that many good connections out there.
Right. And I also think that like for Katinka, like if you know someone's not strategizing super early on in the season, you can just be like, all right, they'll be my ally. They're not going to scheme against me, but I can still like talk with them and figure out information. So I think, it makes sense that Katinka, as we find out, would be sort of a nexus of information here on the tribe.
Yeah. And she fishes, she makes shelter. She's really the full package. She's a triple threat of Survivor.
Yeah. It's a good thing Tevin wasn't here, or else he'd want to vote her out.
That's very true, because she's both attractive and smart, and you can't.
Yeah, that's impossible. That's not allowed.
It's literally not possible.
Right.
And I'm also really glad that John has stayed. And she makes it to the merge, which is great. I don't think anybody really would have expected that.
I always love the sassy quips from John.
Yeah, and she's also like, what's so cool is she was kind of on the outside this entire time, and nobody knew that, and she didn't know that because they never went to tribal council. And I feel like that gave her the chance to really get back in, and nobody's annoyed with her anymore.
Right. I mean, I feel like we whenever we look at the tribe that she's on, it's always like, oh, John's kind of annoying. We should vote her off. But if you don't have to go to tribal council, you don't have to ever have to deal with those. So
exactly. And if you don't go to tribal council, you get really great quotes about how she's probably going to be bad at the roar challenge because her boobs are too big.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to crawl on the ground and you have a natural obstacle, it would be more difficult. But luckily, you're up a member, and you don't have to worry about that.
And this was cool. It was cool that they showed Tree Mel, very low bar that we've set for ourselves here. But it was cool to see them not actually reference that they watched American Survivor, but this challenge was very American Survivor, and I feel like it's pretty well known in modern episodes. And watching them practice for the challenge, that's really fun.
That's so funny. And then PK's like, I hope I don't look like an idiot. And I'm like, you're on Survivor, man. Like, they're gonna make you look like an idiot.
Your purpose is to look like an idiot during challenges.
Yeah. Your purpose is supposed to be a monkey and dance and entertain us on national TV. Exactly. So crawl in the sand, get used to it.
And suck it up for some chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you like this challenge, or do you think it is really ridiculous?
I think so. My favorite Survivor challenges are the ones where if it's like a carnival game or like something you would do at like summer camp, those I don't like. So the ones where they like suffer and like crawl through the sand, I love. So I love this challenge.
It's like you're never going to see stuff like this.
Right. Like throwing a ball at some blocks and then doing a puzzle. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, or I think I can do that at least.
Yeah, exactly. My mom has the complete opposite take. She's like this challenge specifically. She's like, they're just making them look stupid so that they can look stupid. And I was like, exactly.
That's the point. Exactly.
Why this is a reward challenge and not an immunity challenge?
What did you think of the reward of chocolate?
So I don't not like chocolate, but right. If I'm having dessert and the option is a chocolate cake or a bag of Cheez-Its, I'd go for the Cheez-Its.
I totally agree. I'm a salty snack person all day.
But the fondue looked really good.
It did look really good, but also, and this is something that I now think about because of season 40 and Tyson getting the peanut butter. But chocolate's like just sugar, right?
Straight sugar.
You're just gonna eat the sugar, and then you're gonna be like insanely energetic for like a day, and then you're gonna be crashed completely.
Yes.
So I don't know. I
And
mean, I would
I feel like
probably.
I didn't even see in the fondue, I didn't even see like a strawberry to dip it in or like a
I
pretzel.
mean,
Like
they did have strawberries. They did have
you
strawberries.
did? Okay.
They
Oh,
had
yes.
strawberries and glasses of milk. Maybe
I would love a glass of milk.
I would like to think that I would trade my chocolate for a glass of milk, but I'm sure in the moment I'd be like, "Oh my god, chocolate's the best."
I'd probably be
So,
not. Except, I don't know. I mean, if Tom is just like running his fingers through the fondue, then maybe not, but sounds like a later
okay,
problem.
so yeah, going back to this whole like this is a thing now that Tom eats weird, right?
Yeah.
So
You give me your thought first.
so I have two sides of it. One, the dipping your hands to get in all the last bits of chocolate. Like, what else are you gonna do? There's no other way to get the chocolate out. But the licking your fingers clean and then touching something else with it, that's weird. That's where I draw the line.
So I actually was team Tom on this one because for the last one, I think it was the spoon licking. You were okay with it, and I thought that was disgusting.
Really?
Yeah, for this, I don't
That's
know. I
wild.
think she's doing that thing where, and every single person, every one of us has gone through this, where if you like don't like somebody, whether it be like passively dislike or actively dislike, and you continue to spend more time with them, all of a sudden they could sneeze and you hate them.
Yeah, we'd
Like
be like,
I
how
think
dare they sneeze?
I think Shanae is at that point where she's like, this disgusting human is trying to eat near me, and it's like,
How dare
let
he?
him,
Yeah.
come on.
Right. Although something I do think is interesting about how Tom is being portrayed to us is
Yes.
it's like it kind of feels like he's only being annoying when people talk about him in confessionals. Like when you see like just like camp life stuff or like during a challenge, like there was like one small scene where like he and Palesa high-fived or something, or like he like was immediate to like hug Shanae during the challenge, and it's like they still look like they get along, you know?
I think it's like when I'm sure he's like baseline annoying, but I think it's just like gross dude at camp annoying. And he can be a jerk when confronted. But I think those are two like pretty normal things that a lot of people do. So maybe
And
if
like they're all hangry, you know, like whatever.
yeah, and they've all been on the same tribe together too. I think that has a lot to do with it. Like they all came from original Luzon together.
So they're
they
like,
know,
I'm still stuck with Tom.
right. They're like 20 days in or however long. And they're like, this guy is licking a spoon and I can't sleep because of it. So also must point out, Katinka's slow-mo replay during that challenge was the best one yet.
The slow-mo replays were so funny, dude.
So
I
good.
cannot handle these. Yeah.
They're so unnecessary and so hilarious, but Katinka is bringing the heat and I love that for her.
Yeah, and then I guess we really noticed this in these two episodes, but Vusi kind of a challenge beast.
Kind of a challenge beast, and promptly is removed because of that.
Right. Yeah. But it's also like we don't really like hear. It's not like, oh my god, we got to get Vusi out. He's carrying these challenges. Just like it feels like they just don't talk about it at all until it's like, oh yeah, you know, Messias has been winning all these challenges, and you see Vusi being in the hero position every time.
Yeah, because he is in the hero position for both of the challenges. And he even says in a confessional, he's like, I don't know, I think I gotta lighten up because they might figure me out. And then he ends up getting voted out for completely unrelated reasons, and he's like, y'all were scared. You're like, what, scared what?
I mean, hey, just, you know, if you're getting voted out, you got to hype yourself up, you know?
Yeah.
It's a crushing moment.
There isn't like, there's no Lockie on this season. Like there's no, at least I don't think like one person who is just incredible at challenges. Like there's no Aussie. So maybe it's not as obvious that Vusi has done well.
Right. I mean, maybe we will see that emerge. Who knows?
Maybe, perhaps. So Shanae pukes because of how gross Tom is. I refuse to believe that's actually true.
That's not real. There's no way you're gonna eat that. You're gonna eat that chocolate up anyways. You're gonna think that's the best chocolate you've ever had.
I can't believe they showed it too. I don't think they show it on American Survivor.
I feel like they just like imply that people throw up.
Yeah, they give you the
I could be making this up. I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like
I don't see it. Or it's like if someone throws up at night, they'll show it, but you can't really tell. And I feel like I've heard the sounds a lot, but they just like hard cut to that.
Yeah. Well, do they usually only do like show people throwing up at night and not during the day? What a weird idea.
Yeah, maybe because it's just not as like, I don't
It's
know.
just like, oh, whatever, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't need to see that. I feel like I could have been told that she was puking without like really seeing the depths of it. But
Right.
I guess Tom was that gross.
Who knows? I
Who
mean,
knows?
that's what Shanae says. So
So before this immunity challenge, your girl Tony gets a lot of attention these next two episodes.
she
But
does.
Tony is just like generally pissed that they can't start a fire. What's up with Tony?
Well, I would think that I mean, if you can't start a fire, that's, fire represents your life, or as Jeff says all the time. But I think like, I think it's just a survival mode thing. If you're trying to survive and you can't boil your water or cook your food and you can't have warmth, and, like there's probably all the psychological stuff that's making you freak out. So I feel like that she was just being the voice of the tribe, and everyone else was also pissed that they couldn't make fire.
Yeah. She just seemed very like high tension, but maybe it's because like PK was like, this is my idea. Like, we're going to make the moves. And maybe Tony was like, oh shit, maybe getting rid of Tevin wasn't the best idea. I don't know. But so this immunity challenge is pretty much like the Winners at War, Edge of Extinction return challenge. You do some obstacle courses, you get a bag of balls, and then you have to do
the weird, like, I want to call it like a slide puzzle, but it's not. It's like the ball moving up the maze puzzle.
Yeah, with the two.
But on the balance beam. Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult. And I think this is really cute because Shanae and Annalise are both sitting out, and they are on the same sit-out bench, and they both go like, "Oh my God, you look so thin." It was like two like pals who like hadn't seen each other in a while.
Well,
like, oh
okay. I actually had a okay. So first, yes, very funny. I thought that was a great little moment. Second, I think this is like a cool thing that American Survivor could do more, right? So this is like a weird solution to the whole like too many idols and like men always find the idols thing. So the idea is that like, and I could be totally wrong. The idea is that like the men are usually the people that go out, that they're like, men are neurophysically designed to be stronger than women. So they're the people that always go out, but that's where the idols are found. And so that's why men find idols more or something, right? But if women are sitting out, why don't you always have women, the people that are sitting out from opposite tribes, sit next to each other, and now they can get information, right? Because I feel like women are more likely to sit out. And you know what's better than an idol? Information. If you just know what's going on, you don't need an idol or not. Right. So I think that's maybe a cool solution that isn't just more idols. It's like now other people get things too.
I like it a lot because that can create what I think they tried to do with that like weird summit from Millennials versus Gen X. And I think what almost happened in Tocantins with like the Exile Alliance. I think especially when tribes are switching so much, like it's really good to have people communicating. And that way it's like, well, you're not just sitting out and like being useless. Like, they've obviously they hit a clue, or they hit that advantage under Michaela's feet in Game Changers.
That's like all I thought about watching the episode.
Yeah. But I was like, but you're right. Like, and they'll always have funny commentary, even if they aren't strategizing. So I'm glad they put some emphasis on that. I thought that was nice.
Right. I think having some more like cross tribe interaction that isn't just like a swap would be cool. So,
and a lot of information gets revealed. Shanae tells Annalise about Palace's idol that she found at Tribal Council, and about Tom's idol. So, well, Tom's now not present. Or does Tom still have an
idol? I don't know.
Let's say not his non-present idol, but shit. Okay.
They don't have the graphics anymore.
I know.
Or at least not on this one. So who knows?
But she spills the beans, and I think Annalise is like kind of so far removed at this point, and I think they know Emerge is coming, that it's probably one of those things where she's like, this is a worthy thing to be telling her about.
Right. And even again, it's like even if it backfires, like whatever, it's not your tribe. They'll deal with it.
Right. So Vusi ends up winning this challenge again. So Visayas gets first place, Luzon gets second place, and Mindanao loses. And this tribe
loses again.
This tribe of three, yes, they vote each other out. And now we get to the part where Tony and PK are just pissed that people didn't figure out that they should throw the challenge. What is your take on this whole thing?
I don't know. I think that they were just complaining because they didn't want to have to vote someone out, and they were trying to accept the fact, or they were trying to ignore the fact that they lost the challenge by themselves.
Yeah.
So I think they were just hoping. They were being little babies, but whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, it's just they were like, we flipped the whole game, and it was like, you're talking to the confessional guy. You're not talking to your friends over there. Like, you got to communicate with them.
Right. That was never a plan going in. You know, I mean, obviously they still want to be safe too. Everyone on that tribe does. So you can't just be like, oh, you know, how dare they not throw the challenge for us?
Yeah, and there's definitely ways to communicate it. Like you communicate that at the reward challenge. Right. That's when you do it. And it just didn't happen. So I thought that sucked, especially because we lose Josie as a result of it. Did you think that there's a chance that Josie was going to survive, or?
I thought Josie was fine. I thought PK was going home.
Yeah, I thought he might too. Because they were making him out to be kind of annoying. And at tribal council, he's like, I'm a real man. And like, I'm not voting people out I don't want vengeance. And Tony was like, but that's exactly what you want.
Right. Well, I thought it was going to be I was really focused on the decision that PK made from last week, where it was PK was like, all right, time to make my move. I'm going to go with the girls. And then I was thinking, oh, now that there are 3 of them left, the girls are just going to continue to stick together, and PK is going to get voted out. So I was convinced that PK was going to get voted out. And then Josie went home, and I was shocked.
I was pretty shocked about that. But I think maybe Tony, it was like, pick the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. And
yeah, sure.
I think, if you keep Josie has that relationship with Vusi and Palesa, but Tony doesn't know them. Right, so I feel like that's a little tough. And then all of a sudden, Tony lost Tevin and PK, 2 of her close allies, threw Werner under the bus. So all of a sudden, she's kind of alone if she gets rid of him.
Right.
So Josie unfortunately goes home, just misses the merge. We go to episode 9, and they are bright pink merge buffs. And there's a Sears merge feast.
Oh my God. Something that they said was it was 300% natural beef. How do you get 300%?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? We can have 0% beef with plant-based substitutes, but how do you get more beef per beef? That doesn't make any sense.
It only eats other cows.
Yeah, isn't it like a Simpsons thing where it like gives you a heart attack immediately?
I've never seen that, but it seems like it. So I guess this counteracts the chocolate that Shanae was puking out.
Yeah, that's fine. And the fact they all like said like a thing in unison about how Steers was like really cool, and that was so funny.
I missed that. Were they all like, "Wow, we just love this beef"? Like
I don't know what it was. It was like a catchphrase that Steers had. Also, they did a slow-mo of putting spice on a burger. If you saw that. Oh, it was so funny, dude.
God, the slow-mos are so good.
The slow-mos are so good. They always hit you when you least expect it, which is what I like.
When John is jumping from boat to boat when they're putting spices on the burgers.
Oh, so good.
So they eat this barbecue, and then all hell breaks loose, which is pretty par for the course.
Understandable, yeah.
Merges. By what I wrote down, pretty much Werner is talking to everybody. Werner is talking to Vusi. He talks to Annalise. He talks to Tom, because Tom pulls a little Tony and sees Werner and Vusi talking, and Vusi is pretty much chucking Tom under the bus. Right. So this all kind of centers around, and I feel like this whole episode kind of centers around, where is Tom going to go? Because he went from being the person who didn't deserve to be at the merge to kind of the power seat.
Yeah, and one of the first things that we hear in the episode is Palesa saying, I wish I could have voted off Tom before the merge, but that's okay.
He's like, oh, well, I'm here at least.
Yeah, so funny.
So funny.
Something that I thought was really cool about when Werner and Tom were talking is that Werner immediately was able to figure out how Tom was feeling on Visayas, and just was able to connect with him and say, I know you've been feeling like an outcast, I'm here to listen to you. And then for me, I was like, all right, Tom is with Werner for the rest of the episode. Like, this is what Tom is needed, like emotionally and socially from anyone in the show so far. And that being like the first time that happened, I was like, all right, Tom is going to vote wherever Werner does.
And I think that speaks to both of them. Like, I think Werner knew how to capitalize on that. And I think maybe that's where him being a pastor really comes in. Like he knows how to talk to people,
Right.
and just how to relate to people and how to get them to open up to him. And for what it's worth, I wouldn't fault Tom for this. Tom said he was like, I need validation and I need people to tell me that they like me. And nobody has done that since I've been here.
Right.
So for Werner to do that, I can't fault Tom for that. I think for Tom, that's the right choice because these other group couldn't stand him.
Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, I have nothing else to say. I just think it was really good of Werner to do that. I know Werner had like he's just been like always like inching up a little bit further every single episode in terms of like how he's performing. So it's really
I feel like
cool.
he's doing very well. Yeah, I know. I guess like
very well.
We can maybe do this near the end, but like a little merge check-in. I feel like Werner is obvious, but he's also doing a very good job. And he's 2 idols.
Insane. Yeah, insane.
Crazy. And most people seem to be very aware of that. At least the fact that he has 1, if not 2.
Right, right.
So a couple other names that get thrown out. Werner and Annalise talking about getting rid of PK. PK and Shanae talking about getting rid of John. So it seems like PK, by my understanding, PK is trying to make this multi-tribe alliance work just without Josie. But it obviously doesn't connect the way that.
Right. And we see scenes of, and I was thinking we were going to get like a Matt Singh thing of Tony and PK, like a Malcolm and Denise. But instead, it just immediately falls apart because PK is trying to get this whole plan together, and Tony's like, "Why are you trying to be in the minority? Like that's not how numbers work."
Yeah, and PK and Tony end up being the only 2 people who vote together. Like they don't get anybody on their side by the end of it.
Well, actually, so I want to talk about this later. I think there's a reason why they voted for Palesa.
Good, because I was very confused.
Okay. Yeah. So where are we next? So I think after that is about when we get to the immunity challenge. Unless
that's what I have next. Also, Shanae dyes her hair with rust.
Feels so funny.
Feels concerning.
I feel like they only threw that in because her hair was more red, and they were just like, I guess we got to show how it happened.
I have to explain this.
Right.
I love that.
She's not like bleeding from her head or something, you know.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Very funny. Yeah. So immunity challenge, we get the balance on like the pyramid thing.
The Cagayan merge.
The Cagayan merge one. Yeah.
And Tony pulls it out.
Yeah. Wow. We mentioned Cagayan merge and you said Tony, and my brain went to Tony. Instead.
Very funny.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, Tony pulls it out. Always good to be able to win challenges if you want to win. So very good for I guess both our winner picks this episode.
Yes, very true. I feel like Tony's looking a little questionable, but let's talk about what you were just saying with Tony and PK voting out or voting for Palesa, because a lot of my notes up till tribal council are pretty much just a lot of people screaming at each other, or like a lot of people trying to figure things out.
Sure. So here are my notes for what we have after the immunity challenge. So Tony won immunity. That's sick. We have Shanae, Vusi, Palesa, Old Visayas on as one side. We have Tom and PK in the middle, and then all the other people 5 are on one side, right? And so Shanae, Vusi, Palesa are trying to get Tom and PK on their side, so it's 5-5, and it goes to Rocks because they recognize they're in the minority, and they need to not just get voted out immediately. So Palesa tries to talk to Tom, and is like, "Hey, I know we don't like each other, but we've worked together in the past. I kind of want that now." Tom, this is after Tom spoke with Werner, and now that Tom has like a friend on the island, there's no reason for him to go back to Palesa. PK is trying to do the double vote flip thing and trying to play both sides that everyone realizes, right? We have a thing with Tony and someone else about how they're trying to, I think it was Tony and Werner. Yeah, it was Tony and Werner about how they don't trust PK and they need some sort of assurance that he's on their side. So
yeah, they're like kind of double crossing him, but they're not sure of it.
Right. So they are telling Tony and Werner tell PK to vote for Palesa as like a sign of trust when actually they want to vote for Vusi. And then there's like something about like getting Palesa's idol. Like that's an option. Right. So my explanation for why Tony voted for Palesa is she knew where the numbers were. She knew that the 5 were going to vote for Vusi, she didn't need, and there was a scene of Tony telling PK that, from her opinion, they're voting for Palesa. So Tony knows they don't need any more numbers to vote out Vusi. She knows where the numbers are going to be. She knows PK is voting out Palesa, but doesn't want to burn the bridge. So she also votes for Palesa to maintain the trust with PK, doesn't double cross him. They're still in the numbers, and now they can move forward together. That's how I interpreted that.
I like that because they still vote. They don't vote for Vusi, but they vote for Vusi's allies. So it's still like we're voting with the general group against the other alliance.
Right.
We're
because
not
if PK is by himself voting for Palesa, then he thinks that the information that Tony gave him is false.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you
now
think
that Tony's
go ahead.
But now that Tony votes with him, he's like, all right, maybe we just both didn't know, and he still trusts her.
Right. And do you think Tony and Werner connected about that? Like, do you think Tony knew that she was going to go in voting for?
I think so. I would think so. I don't know. I don't know if Werner knew that Tony was going to vote for Palesa.
Right.
But I think, but that could have been something that happened off camera. Maybe they didn't fit it in. I'm sure that. I mean, I would think that Tony and Werner, and maybe we're just defending our winner picks too much. Tony and Werner are strategically inclined enough to be able to make that connection. That's how I read it.
Yeah, I think you did a very good job of that. And I think like you see PK go from like this is, and Phil always talks about like War Dog voting on Kelly Wentworth, but we like last week we're like, oh my God, he makes this big move, but like, is it good or not? And we just see over the course of like the 40 minutes of this episode that PK has a really good idea, is struggling to capitalize on it. And then by the time you get to a little before tribal council, PK is like walking from one alliance to another, like within the same camera shot.
And people are like, what are you?
He's like getting called over there. And
right.
he's like, I like this. And it's like, well, great, but you can't say that.
No one else does. Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to be okay with that.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think Tony was kind of like, she's self-aware that she's in like kind of a tough position with him, but I think she knows that Werner's probably the better player. Werner clearly has a lot more connections. So I'm curious if she's going to jump over to him after that.
Right. I'm also interested, but I think that would be a scary force to reckon with if that's actually what happens.
Yes, Robert's winner picks just steamrolling the rest of the.
I need it. I need it after Winners of War. Oh
wow. So let's get to tribal council.
Mm-hmm.
Shanae like rolls into tribal council talking about Katinka, whose name like has not yet been mentioned at all during this merge. Maybe like once or twice, but Shanae, I think, was talking about.
They recognize that Katinka's she's a threat now. I know
you got to get rid of these threats.
Exactly. She's strategizing.
And she says something along the lines of like that Katinka wouldn't let them eat when they wanted to eat, like just like all this very annoying like strong alliance stuff that I don't think we even got camera. Like
no, it just seemed like they were talking about it, even though like we had no idea what was going on.
Right. And then Nico with the best line of the season so far, point blank asks Katinka, like, are you the kid? Like, do you think you're the kingpin? And everyone starts laughing. Every single person is like, no.
So good. I don't know if Nico was trying to make a joke, but regardless, it was funny. So
it was very Jeffy. I really liked it.
It was.
I'll ask the question, but I already know the answer to it.
Right. Something else I thought was really cool. Actually, this was a little bit before tribal council. Tom was talking about which side he was going to go with, either Old Visayas or the other ones. Mm-hmm. He said 5th and 6th place is basically the same thing. I'm going to go with the people that I like better, even if I don't know them, even if that is technically like the 6th place version. And I think having that mentality of like, I have a better chance to win with them, as opposed to like I'm guaranteeing like one spot up in placements. I think that's a really good mentality to have.
I think it is too. And I think he's probably aware that he's not going to win. And so for him, if he's like, well, 5th and 6th place is the same thing, I'd rather just play with people who don't hate me. So
right. At least for your own sanity, right? Yeah.
And I think we like sometimes will like fault players for making that decision. But I think in Tom's case, it's a win-win and a lose-lose, So he may as well just do it.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I feel like we fault people for making those decisions after, like, if it goes wrong, there was,
right.
this is, we're okay. There was this decision in Big Brother 21, not that you watched, but
You lost, but keep going.
it's okay for anyone who watches Big Brother here. There was a choice that Cliff and Nicole were making on Big Brother 21 of if they wanted to evict Holly or Tommy. And the entire week that they were making that decision, all of Reddit was like, what are they going to do? This is such a hard decision. Who knows what's going to happen? And then after it happened, it was like the wrong choice and it went south. And everyone was like, this was a dumb idea. I hate that they did this. And it's like, did you not remember what we were talking about that whole week? It was like, what's the right decision? This is really hard.
Exactly.
And so, obviously, I'm sure we will see in the coming episodes if it was a good decision or not. But like, yeah, sometimes you make the play to win move and then you just lose harder. But if you want to win Survivor, sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I lost my train of thought. I don't know, completely lost it. But I think, oh, that's what I was going to say. If Tom goes home next week, I think Tom is going to be one of those people who could just he's going to be the charisma. His name can always come up and no one's going to mind. So I think good or bad decision, his name's still going to be floating around. So I don't think this was as monumental as him like blindsiding.
No, yeah, he was already kind of in trouble. So,
Exactly. So the way these votes shook out, let's break down this a little bit. So Katinka gets 3 votes, and it's from the original Visayas. It's Shanae,
Right.
Vusi, Palesa. Palesa gets 2 votes of PK and Tony, which terrified me that she was going to go home, but she survives.
Oh, yeah.
And Tom, Werner, Annalise, John, and Katinka vote for Vusi. So that like Luzon swap tribe, they stay together. Did you expect that group to be that close?
Which one was Luzon? Red?
Red. It's Werner and
the five people.
Yes. I didn't expect that. I don't know.
I guess I didn't expect it considering what we were talking about earlier, but like I guess going into the merge, it is like I know these people, right? We even if there was like the Mindanao versus Luzon tribe dichotomy from like the beginning of the season, like you were just together yesterday. Lots of things can change, and so I don't know if it's like a comfort thing or how much they actually want to work together, but I think at least for a vote, like I think it's fine.
I think so too. And I think it just shows that like the original Mindanao group is like completely broken apart. And Werner is kind of leading the charge on this thing.
Yeah, which is crazy to see.
Crazy and definitely dangerous, but I think he's in a really great spot.
He has 2 idols, so like whatever, he's fine.
He's 2 idols, so we can definitely make it to the final 7 or whatever number we're at.
Yeah, yeah. So he just needs 2 more, and then he's good. No, he needs to survive 3 more votes because he can play on 6 and 5.
But everyone loves him. He's like everyone's his number 1.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. He's in a good spot.
So that being said, so we just voted out our first jury member. Who's gonna win right now? I think your 2 winner picks are looking good.
They still are. Tony and Werner are looking pretty good. Palesa still, I think, has a good chance.
No, I'm nervous for her. She has no friends.
But she doesn't have any enemies, which is actually pretty good considering the state of this so far.
Yeah, and considering it's just her and Shanae now, like I feel like people they're not gonna be like, we must get rid of Shanae and then Palesa. Like I don't think it's that intense.
Right. I mean, consider we have 9 people left. I think Palesa's top half. I think Shanae's top half.
I think Palesa's got that like underdog thing still going on.
I mean, she still has her idol, right? So like, yeah, that helps a lot.
Like I feel like Werner is like top of the top. Tony, I think, is there. PK, I don't think he has a chance. What do you think about like John and Katinka? I feel like they're floating.
I don't think John, Katinka, and Elise have a chance.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think in terms of like winners, I think it could be Palesa. I think it could be Werner. And I think it could be Tony.
I could see Shanae.
Yeah, I like Shanae. I think it could be her.
No one else has a chance.
It really depends on like how much Tom like dislikes his old tribe versus just like doesn't care for them. Because when he's talking to Palesa, he's like,
what if Tom wins? What if Tom turns it around?
I would love
that. Would be so cool.
I would like
That'd
that.
be great. Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
I'm
However,
always a fan of the unexpected.
probably won't happen because the only note that I took about the preview was PK and Tom hate each other.
Hey, that hasn't stopped Tom from not going home before.
Hasn't stopped him from surviving. You're very right, Robert.
Exactly. It's going to be the Tom hate until the very end, and then we're going to love Tom, and then he's going to win.
Exactly. The beauty of editing.
The beauty of editing.
I do think the editing has been pretty good. I feel like Werner is going to win, but I feel like that just makes sense because he's the most active player right now.
Yeah, and has his 2 idols, which is still insane.
Which is psychotic. Yeah.
Right.
What else do you have on this episode, Robert? Any closing thoughts?
That is it. That is all the notes that I took that I felt like were important.
Yes. Yeah, merge episodes are always confusing, but you actually gave a very, very good TLDR of that. So please be prepared when I ask you to do that again next week.
You got it. I'll take notes again. I haven't taken notes until today's episode, and I feel like it actually helped. No way. That's so
informed.
surprising. Yeah. I know so much. I know so many more things about what happened. Crazy.
Yes, definitely recommend continuing to do so.
Taking notes, good idea.
So I don't know if the challenge is over or not yet. I don't watch the challenge, but if it's still on, Phil and John are probably going to be recapping that on Wednesday. There's a chance that Phil and John might be taking a break from the movie podcast tomorrow, but I'm actually not sure. But we'll be back next Monday at our usual time, recapping the 10th episode of South African Survivor. We are officially in the back half of the season. We're at like the jury villa stuff. Maybe I'll watch the Ponderosas.
Ponderosas are so good.
They're so good. So stay tuned for that. Follow us on social media. We are on I just said we're on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
I spent my whole day on LinkedIn, which is why.
I guess technically we are on LinkedIn, but
we should be on LinkedIn. It's on my LinkedIn profile that I do this podcast.
Is mine on here?
You should maybe put it on your podcast.